My name is Matt Hurt. I'm at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
And I'm Tiny at Obsessive Tiny on Twitter.
And this is a live Indy PopCon 2016 edition of ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast. Hey guys, we're here at Indy PopCon 2016 on the last day of the convention. The exhibit hall is about to close here in about an hour. And we're both pretty tired, me and Tiny. We're pretty exhausted. And Mike couldn't be here for this PopCon because he actually, today is Father's Day, and he is a father now.
Yep.
Yeah, we haven't been able to talk about that, have we?
No, not yet. So yeah, he's a dad now.
Yeah, he's a dad. So he's going to be on sabbatical from the podcast.
Even more.
And even more. No, it's awesome, and we're super excited for him. We're both really happy for him, and it's I didn't clear this joke with him, but he and his wife Amanda had a beautiful son last week, and on the 10th, I believe, and they named him Oscar. So that's a good name. I love that name.
What do you think, Kenny?
Yeah, it's a perfect name. Did you tell him who they named him after?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Everyone immediately, because Mike is a huge movie fan, obviously. People will probably immediately think of the Oscars, and Mike White is someone who would do that, but and I thought it was kind of awkward that they gave him the middle name So. I thought that was kind of weird.
Oh my god!
I've been waiting like a week to make that joke. No, it's funny because I guess maybe we should save it for when he comes back. Okay, yeah, you guys won't know. Anyway. We're a little slap happy here. Tiny, you were here Friday, all by your lonesome because I had to work. So we'll have a full post PopCon conversation. I'm kind of all over the place here. I apologize. So basically, this episode is our first of 2 PopCon episodes. And Tiny, just really quick, how are you feeling right now?
I'm really tired and worn out, but it's kind of in a good way, because you just met all these really cool people and spent money on things you don't need, which is always gratifying in a fun way. I'm feeling pretty good. I had a bit too much to drink last night, but it was fun as well. So yeah, I love PopCon weekend. It's a good kind of tired.
Same here. I love it. I do, and it's so much fun. We get to touch base with a lot of our convention friends that we see every year here, because now it's an established thing. This is the 3rd year they've done PopCon. It's the 3rd time we've done PopCon, and it's so fun to be in this environment, and I love it. And also, we bought our booth for next year, so we'll be here again next year. I actually picked a really good booth space for us, so I'm really excited for that. And next year it's going to be July 7th to the July 9th. And I just want to remind everyone that we have an ongoing iTunes review contest going on. So if you're listening to this and haven't reviewed us on iTunes and have an iTunes account in which you can review us, go do that and then send us a message on Facebook on our Facebook page at facebook.com/theobsessiveviewer, and send us your email and your username for iTunes. On July 1st, 2016, we will pick from the ones we will randomly pick from the ones that have been submitted, and we will give them a $10 Amazon gift card. So that's it's $10 on Amazon, and it's not too much of an effort. There's a few steps there, but we hope that you guys do that. And also, thank you to all our new listeners that we've gotten from PopCon. It's been a really fun weekend.
I agree. Yeah, thanks to everybody for joining us.
Yeah, awesome. So this recording is, like I said, the first of 2 episodes, and it's going to cover our podcast stage time, in which we got to interview Gary from cinemaside.com. They are a couple guys from the area, from Indianapolis, who do riffs on movies, and they're super intelligent guys. They're really passionate about their work, and I'm really excited to share this recording because we got to talk to them we got to talk to Gary about their entire process and how they make sure that they put out such a great product. and it's really exciting to have him on and talk to him about it, and because that's one of the things that I personally love a lot is just hearing about people's creative energies and what they're passionate about, and that came through very clearly in this interview. So we're going to get to that in just a second, but I also want to mention just a quick plug or a quick thing. If you're a new listener and you're not aware of it, we have an event in Irvington every October, and it's Shocktober in Irvington. It's a one-night event screening of local filmmakers' short horror films, and in the Irvington area. We raffle off prizes and give away gift cards to Irvington businesses. We have it locked down for Friday, October 14th, 2016, and tickets are going to go on sale probably early August. We'll have an announcement about that shortly. But all the money goes straight to the Irvington Historical Society, and it's a great event. We do it every year. This is our third year doing it, and it's super exciting. And we now officially have a Facebook event page for it, so check that out in the show notes or go to shocktoberinirvington.com. So, Tiny, is there anything else you want to say before we get to our recording with Gary from CinemaSide?
Just thanks to everybody for stopping by the booth and saying hi to us. It's a great weekend.
Yep, thanks, guys, and hope you enjoy this recording. Hello, and welcome to our live podcast time for the Obsessive Viewer. We're a weekly movie and TV podcast that covers a specific topic, be it genre, trope, movie, or show. Every episode, we have you can find back episodes of the podcast at ovpodcast.com and find the blog at obsessiveviewer.com. And I don't have my notes for all that, so I think that's... follow the subreddit, subscribe to the subreddit at r/obsessiveviewer. So, we're here at PopCon for the third annual PopCon, our third one here, and we have a guest here on the stage with us. It's Gary from CinemaSide. How's it going?
Hello. Things are going good.
Nice. So, this is the first convention that you've had for CinemaSide, which is, from my understanding, it is a riff track type project that you guys have where you riff on movies, much like Riff Tracks or MST3K.
Yeah, in the same spirit as Mystery Science Theater. We do the same type of comedic audio commentary.
Nice.
We just debuted online in November, and we got a handful of riffs online right now, and
nice.
Stuff in production. Mm-hmm. So.
What titles do you have available right now? I saw that you have Spider-Man and Twilight.
Yeah.
Nice.
We debuted with Spider-Man. We came out with Twilight a few months later.
Sweet.
And Star Wars Episode 4. We thought we'd touch up on that a little bit.
Nice.
But, and then we took a production break, moved facilities, reconstructed a booth, and just recently came up with our first VOD, which for the 1932 Bela Lugosi movie called White Zombie.
That is fantastic.
That's a cool choice for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of history behind that movie, and we loved it, and it was easy to riff, so
yeah,
which helps.
Yeah. I've seen about maybe 20 minutes of it, and then I think I had to go to work or something like that, so I haven't seen the full movie, but I'll have to check that out for sure.
And then that's a sizable piece of it. It's only 67 minutes long.
Right, yeah.
It didn't take us as much to entertain back then, so.
Right.
Wow.
Nice. So you guys are based in Indianapolis and Greenwood, I believe, for the most part? Yeah.
Just 15 minutes south of Greenwood, or south of Indy.
Sweet. That's awesome. So what was your inspiration, or what caused you guys to start CinemaSide, and what was the impetus of the project?
Well, there were three of us in the initial phases, and we were all friends. We worked together at the same place.
Nice.
We all shared a love of Mystery Science Theater 3000, and we would pass those DVDs around to each other, and based upon that love, we thought we would just sit down and improv movies, on a whim after work. And so we would shut down the restaurant and hop into the bar and pop in DVDs and just improv riff. And we found we were pretty happy with the stuff that we were getting, so we decided to start taking notes and writing scripts for it. And over time, it just snowballed. I want to say snowballed, but it was a good snowball.
Right.
But yeah, it just got bigger and bigger until we have what we have today, and we hope it just keeps going.
Cool.
Very cool.
I'm curious what your guys' selection process is like for picking movies, because obviously, first of all, thank you for doing Twilight, because that movie needs to be crapped on as much as possible.
Every chance we can get.
But then you pick a really good movie like Star Wars. So I mean, is there any kind of process you go through? Or is it just like, hey, I think we can riff on this? Or
when it comes to an old B movie, we have a library of hundreds, and we haven't even seen them all,
Right.
But we'll sit down and we'll watch a handful of them. And if we feel like the first time we watched the movie, we got some really great material just in a dry run, then we'll set it aside and we'll make it a point to take some notes on it in the future. But then when it comes to mainstream first-run movies, the Star Wars, the Spider-Mans, the Twilights, and stuff like that, we're going for something that a lot of people are going to have in their DVD collection, because that's a big part of the process. Is we're selling an MP3 commentary that they're playing along with their DVD at home. So if we're doing an MP3 commentary for a movie that didn't sell any DVDs in the first place,
right.
we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's initially we want to hit up the biggest blockbusters we can.
Okay.
And but if we can't seem to pull together any quality material on something, then it's quickly pushed aside.
Okay.
So what's the actual production process like? You touched on it a little bit, but how do you go from selecting the movie to the actual end of production, having the completed file ready? How's that process
once
go?
we've decided on something, then it's going to take about 6 to 8 weeks as far as production goes.
Nice.
And that's just basic script writing and then hitting the booth.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's another handful of weeks of editing and re-records and stuff like that. So basically, from the beginning, we sit down and we take a series of notes on the film. We just watch it straight through, and then we'll put it on the shelf for a couple of days, and then we'll sit down again a little later, and we'll take another set of notes on it. Nice. And we'll do this maybe 2, 3, 4 times. We have contributors that live in other cities, and we'll let them know that we're going to be working on this thing, and so they'll do the same process and send us some notes that they get on the film. And then once we have the notes, we sit down and start writing the script for it. But once we have the script, then it takes a soft rewrite, then we hit the booth, and once we have a solid record down, then editing, then re-records, and then it's ready for the website.
Very cool.
And again, that's anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks on any given one.
So during that time, do you have to watch the movie over and over and over and over again?
Dozens and dozens of times. We've been asked this question here at the con, and we've watched White Zombie no less than 100 times, and that's just a ballpark. It's way more than that.
Jeez.
You watch it a dozen times just in the script writing process, and then it's over and over and over until it's not even a movie anymore.
Right.
So here at your booth, for people in the audience here at your booth, you actually have a TV set up with a demo of the White Zombie track and everything. So how's the experience been with that, and how's your overall experience been with the convention, since it's the first time at something like this for Cinema
first time exhibiting at a con, first time vending at a con. I think it's been remarkable.
Nice.
Obviously, I've attended many cons and been on that side of the table, and not put a lot of thought into how easy it is to pass by somebody without paying attention to the reason that they're there in the first place. But with that said, we've had a lot of positive response. Plenty of people asking what we've been up to, and handed out a lot of business cards and got a lot of positive feedback from the people that have listened in on the headphones, and so we're excited. The whole point of coming was just to get our name out there in front of as many people as possible. We weren't anticipating on making a lot of money or hitting a big deal. Or, we just want to get out in front of as many people as we can.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's how we feel too. We just get our product out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's building a brand, and that's kind of the thing that really speaks to me about it is that, you just want to get out there. That's kind of, we were in the same position a few years ago when we first came to Indy PopCon for the first time, because we had no idea what we were doing, because we didn't have the history of going to cons and everything. So, but it's always a really fun experience, especially at PopCon, because there's so many just good people here that, and
it's a great community.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely just fantastic. So, are you at liberty to discuss what is ahead for CinemaSide? Like what is in production and what you guys have coming up?
Well, we have dozens of scripts in the can.
Nice.
Wow.
We've been. I say that we debuted online in November, but we've actually been in a production phase for almost 5 years.
Wow.
And it took that long to get us where we are because we didn't take out any loans. We didn't do any Kickstarters. We're just a couple of guys working part-time jobs, paying our bills, and we just funded this thing on our own. So
nice.
We took that time, that limitation, if you will, and we spent that time building a library of finished scripts. And so now, while we continue to knock out more scripts, we have a pretty good idea of what we got coming up. Our next major release will be Jurassic Park.
Oh, nice.
We hope to have that out at the beginning of August.
Sweet.
And then we'll be working on the Hunger Games. That'll be a September or October release.
Nice.
But yeah, we've got a whole lot of movies that we've done, and we're looking forward to touching up on as many different genres as we can.
That's great. I really respect that. Just starting out, just on your own, like just funding everything yourself. I really respect that from a creative standpoint, because when me and Tiny started the podcast, we had Rock Band microphones that we plugged into a USB computer, and it was just, the sound quality was, we probably shouldn't have released those episodes. But
we used a couple of my shoes as microphone holders, because those Rock Bands are so sensitive you can't even touch them. Yeah, those were good times.
Oh yeah. So it's such a learning process, and it seems like you guys have it set down to such a. You guys have already out of the gate have the process down to such close to an exact science as you can, because you guys had so much prep time, and you guys really, it shows how much you guys care about the finished product, and that's fantastic.
It was absolutely beneficial to have that extra time, the years, because there was a huge learning curve, and we didn't skip anything along the way. We hit just about as many roadblocks as you could possibly hit, and I think it was Joel Hodgson that said that when he was trying to get Mystery Science Theater off the ground, that he hit one roadblock after another, and he had plenty of opportunities to quit, and the only thing that made it successful was that he didn't. So,
Nice.
So we know that we're doing the right thing if we're hitting roadblocks.
Yeah, that's a great philosophy to have with any kind of creative energy. It's anything creative that you're putting your energy in. That's
and life in general.
Absolutely.
It's important to just keep plugging along, and I think that's what's got us where we are today is what limited success we've had so far. It's just based upon the fact that we didn't stop when we could have.
Right.
I'm curious. Have you guys ever thought about doing like a live show? Because that'd be probably kind of cool for you guys to get that immediate feedback, just having an audience laughing at everything you're saying.
Yes, on multiple levels. The show CinemaSide was actually, we had a very grand idea for it. We wanted to do a live show. We had a concept that I thought was very unique. It was Mystery Science Theater-esque, but the concept of the show was very unique. And we went around to local theaters, and I tried to hit up the Art Craft in Franklin as a potential theater to film in. But we ran into roadblocks there.
Sure.
But yeah, we were intending it to be a live show. And then over time, finding out the cost and the limitations of where we could film and what we could do, what we could get away with, we decided that it was probably best just to take a page out of Riff Track's book and say, let's just start small with this and then see where it goes, But, we've been presented with multiple opportunities here at the con with people who hope to do live shows in different cities. And, we're open to the opportunity. It's half of what we do is watching stuff and making fun of it. So if we can't do that in front of other people, then
I'm sorry. Have you guys ever ran into any legal issues? Because I know that's with the Mystery Science Theater 3000. No one's seen the first season because they didn't get the rights to any of that stuff. So I'm just curious if you guys have had any issues like that.
Well, we've been pretty lucky because of the style that we operate is that we're selling MP3 commentaries.
Right.
And so people are popping in their DVDs at home, and we're just simply selling our own audio commentary that happens to match up to it.
Right.
So with that said, we're not running into any copyright issues because we're not infringing upon anybody. And then when it comes to our most recent release, say White Zombie, where we're actually selling the VOD, the video and the audio together, but White Zombie's public domain now.
Very cool.
It being so old, so we're trying to take advantage of as many inexpensive opportunities to do what we're doing, and then if we hit it big, then of course then we'll start getting into licensing the bigger things. But it's been beneficial to find out the easiest ways to get around these things.
Okay, cool.
Nice. So say someone at the convention comes up to your booth and they only have enough money to get one of the tracks. Which one would you say is your favorite of your babies that you're selling?
That depends on who you ask. My favorite of the stuff that we've done has been Twilight. So
nice.
Yeah, I felt like we're really careful to offer fresh material.
Right.
So we take the time to write our script, and then we'll sit down and listen to every available riff that anyone's done, so that we can make sure that we don't have similar jokes,
Right.
And when we do, we pull our jokes and we rewrite for those slots, and so we know that we're putting out a 100% original product. So with that said, everybody's torn Bella Swan to shreds,
Yeah.
And so, it's easy to say, well, you just can't do that movie anymore because there's no original jokes for it. But we found a way to do it, We changed our targets, but I really feel like that we touched up Twilight in a very original and hilarious way, to humbly speaking.
Right.
But then if you ask my co-host, David McAllister, he would say that the script we have written for Spider-Man 2 would be his favorite. We haven't recorded that yet, but it'll be soon. But that would be his favorite script that we've...
Nice.
And they're both great, so I'm satisfied with what we've done so far. Hopefully everybody else will be too.
Yeah,
cool.
That's fantastic.
Is there any project, like any kind of movie that you're just dying to just rip to shreds that you guys just haven't gotten to yet?
Everything.
Okay, I can take that.
Yeah,
Good answer.
If you go to the movies nowadays, there's something wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
There's nothing original. And when there is something original, then the critics just tear it to pieces.
Right.
And I don't see myself as a critic because that's not what I'm doing. You know? I'm not just mushing on a film because the lighting was bad or the soundtrack was off,
Right.
or they should have had this actor instead of that actor. That's not our process at all,
Okay.
When you hit the theaters and you see movies like Jurassic World or Star Wars: The Force Awakens, or everything that's come out this summer,
Right.
is something that we want to riff on, and sadly, once you get into the process, you can't stop. So you sit down in the movie theater and you pay your $12 to see something, and then you spend 2 hours riffing the movie. So
that was going to be my next question: how it's affected your general movie-going experience.
Everything that we've completed a script for, the movie's ruined for us. We can't watch it anymore. So it's affected us in that way. And then on top of that, there is we can't watch any movie nowadays without you throwing out commentary for it. So
Right.
it makes you really unpopular in a group setting, and
You're making a huge sacrifice for your art.
huge. And we love movies, so it's the hardest thing. But
That's tough.
I love the general concept of just riffing on a movie. I love that idea, and I love commentary tracks as well. Like, I think that there is such a market to be catered to for that, because a lot of people love commentary tracks specifically. Like, I'm a sucker for a good commentary track, and I love when movies get their due with certain in respect to being riffed on. So I'm really
That's
eager
a kind
to check
way
it.
of putting it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, very diplomatic way to say it. For yeah. Oh God. But yeah. So why don't you tell everyone like where they can find CinemaSide?
We're online at cinemaside.com. We were lucky when we hit it up domains, so we found CinemaSide hadn't been taken by anybody for anything.
Nice.
So everything was very basic for us. We're at cinemaside.com. We're at CinemaSide at Hotmail for feedback, for suggestions, for hate mail. But the website's fairly easy. It's fairly basic. All the instructions are on the homepage for those who aren't familiar with the riff track style of MP3 commentaries, and we've got a shop page that has all of our stuff on it, and it's just super easy to do.
That's awesome. Nice.
Cool.
I like how I looked through it, and I liked how well you guys describe how to sync it up, because you think, okay, well, if you're going to have a commentary track that you need to sync up, like that would be in the back of my head, like, okay, how can I make sure that this is being synced up properly? And it would be in the back of my head, but you guys have a clear set of instructions that seem very much catered to the viewer experience, and I just like that. So for those listening, how do you sync up the audio track, just as a brief overview of it?
Well, what we do is when you press play on our commentary, there'll be an introduction and greeting and some general nonsense and shenanigans, and but then there will be a point where we get into the instructional part of it, and we'll ask the viewer to pause the commentary and pop in their DVD at home for whatever movie they're watching, and they'll be given an instruction at an exact point when a certain logo pops up, when a Warner Brothers logo pops up, or when a Gramercy logo pops up, or when something fades. Every movie's different, but they'll pop in their DVD and press play, and then when they see that thing that we have given them a cue for, they'll just press play again on our commentary. And we've done the work to make sure that everything stays synced up past that point, but we also offer audio syncs in the film.
Nice.
And what that does is we'll read a piece of dialogue that a character in the movie is saying, and if you don't hear them at the same time, then you know that they're off a little bit. You can pause one for a second or two, or But again, we've done the work, and we've when it comes to editing, we've tried really hard to make this as simple as humanly possible.
Right.
But yeah, if you've never listened to a riff track style comedy, then it could be immensely confusing to try to put this stuff together. So we wanted it to be instructional on every single MP3, and we wanted it to be instructional on the website too, so that everybody felt like they had total control over it.
Nice. Cool. So, what is your biggest influence with this project in terms of like what are your biggest influences on what you look to when you go to do a riff on a movie? Like who influenced you?
What are the
most?
biggest hurdles?
Like what influenced you more to start it, basically? Like MST3K and riff tracks.
We hear this from a lot of people, and it's probably everybody. But everybody, to a certain extent, riffs movies. At home, you're riffing the TV, your commercials, and stuff like that. But I grew up watching Sammy Terry on late night TV, and really old bad horror movies, and we'd get a pizza on a Saturday night, and we'd sit around and we would just lay into these things, with my dad and my uncle, and me as a kid and everything, and it was just one of the highlights of my youth was just how great the weekends were laying into these things, and of course cold pizza on a Sunday morning, but yeah, that's what really spawned a lifelong love of it. But then 88, 89 rolls around, and then there's Mystery Science Theater, and these guys are doing it for real, and so and they hit on all bases. They're good at what they do, and we love the show concept, and I watched it all through my teen years, and own all the DVDs now, obviously. So we're big fans of the show, and just the basic concept of dropping an audio commentary into everyday life. You know, that's
Nice. So, what we've been asking people at the convention at our booth is we've been asking them what movie, show, or franchise they would want to reboot, remake, reimagine, revive, and how they would go about doing that. And while we've got you here, why don't you do you have a title that you would want to do that to?
well, I would say that most of the founding members of CinemaSide were huge Futurama fans.
Oh, nice.
And so a show like that, to see it die once was hard enough, and to see it die twice is equally as difficult. But yeah, that's the kind of show I wouldn't want to. I would like to see continue. You know, yeah. I don't think they got completely to the end of that thing. You know,
Yeah.
the writing
That
stayed
had-
sharp, and
That had such a troubled, history.
So
It's
rough.
Oh yeah.
a cobbled
Oh, yeah.
road all the way.
Yeah.
But
Is there a specific format you would want it to take? Like, would you want it to be like a
think-
Netflix original? Or?
exactly, that's
Yeah?
that's. I think that's the way everything's going now. You know, is the networks don't want to pay for the quality TV shows, and then
Right.
they hit Netflix, and it's why not?
Yeah.
You know, whatever venue it takes to get the good Marvel series is out. You know, that's
Oh, yeah.
you know,
yeah.
whatever venue it takes. But yeah, I would say Futurama is the type of show that I'd like to see come back. Buddy and I were just talking about a movie from the 90s called The Crow.
Oh,
Sure
The
you're
Crow,
familiar.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, that seems like the kind of thing. They did a great movie, and then they kind of did a bunch of B movies that weren't so great. You know,
Right.
Right.
And I feel like nowadays they could probably touch that story up a little bit and not tarnish the memory of Brandon Lee too hard.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
been long enough, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, this is our third year here, and we have a different question every year. And so the first year we asked people, we just asked people what their favorite movie and favorite TV show were. So, do you have a favorite, or is it kind of hard for you to pick?
So when it comes to movies, my favorite movie would be Castaway. And
Really?
that doesn't
Castaway,
fit into the
interesting.
riff style.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's it's one of those movies that touched me on a personal level, and
Nice.
I can watch it about every 3 months and cry like a baby all over again.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
That's a great pick. I like that.
Yeah. You don't hear that every day. That's a really good pick.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in years, but certain points of it really stick with me.
Yeah, it's. I think for all those people that think that it would be nice to get stranded on an island. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
You think I hate my job and the rat race and just the same old in and out every day. I wouldn't mind getting stranded on an island. They painted a pretty ugly picture getting stranded.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the movie was beautiful all
It
over.
is.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the second year, last year, we asked people. It'd be really funny if you had the same answer. We asked people what character
That's
from any
right.
universe or any movie or any franchise would you want to be, and why?
Oh wow!
Like I said, it'd be hilarious if you had the same answer. Castaway.
I'm not sure that I could do that.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I don't have the wherewithal. I'm a big guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, so I would want to be like the 13th Doctor. That's my pick. We had a lot of really cool answers last year, so
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. And if you're around enough people over a period of time, then it's just a fact.
Yeah.
The less you know, the better off you are.
Right.
And with that said, I would say that maybe Homer Simpson would be a really good answer.
Nice.
Because he seems to have everything.
yeah.
And just to be completely ignorant of it, and and not have to pay the consequences for being ignorant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's that great episode, Homer's Enemy, with
yeah,
where he has a coworker that it comes up from such a horrible, terrible,
Frank
childhood.
Grimes.
And Fred Grimes, or Frank
old
Grimes.
Grimy.
Yeah. And it's just so great because he notices it's so great
Everything.
in The Simpsons when supporting characters notice just how extravagant the Simpsons' lives are, and they're completely unaware of it.
And everybody
it's so
else
great.
is too. Seems
Oh,
in
yeah.
the series.
Oh yeah. That's such a great pick. That would be amazing to be Homer.
It is, yeah. I mean, he was in a band. He was famous. He was a business owner.
Been to space.
He's met presidents and former... I mean, yeah, he's done everything.
And immune from punishment.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good pick.
That's a
I like
great
that.
pick.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I don't remember who I said last year, or what universe I said, but I don't know. It'd probably be Star Trek now, maybe.
It'd be easy to have a different answer every day.
Oh,
For
absolutely.
something like that.
Oh, yeah. Especially when
The hypotheticals.
Oh yeah, you have so many properties that are like attract like people to a fandom, and it's like these properties have such vast universes that are just molded by the writers and even the fans influence it as well. It's really hard to pick because they're so well realized. There's such a vast amount that you can pick from. It's really amazing.
Yeah. Pick one, difficult.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So our next question for you is, we do a segment on the podcast called Potpourri. It just basically means that it's how we wind down the podcast. It's whatever we want, as long as it smells good. Anything that we've watched, anything that we're looking forward to, anything that is of interest in the movie or TV world at the forefront of our minds. So is there anything that you've watched lately that you want to talk about, or that you have a particular feeling about, whether good or bad?
Well, I'm a Netflixer,
Nice.
and I like to burn through a series in a weekend. It's the hardest thing in the world for me to get into anything that's on TV now, and to sit and wait. And I don't know how we did it for so long that we would watch a TV show and then wait 7 days for the next one. But stuff like Game of Thrones nowadays, you'll watch it for 3.5, 4 months, and then you got 8 months going, where's the next one? And it's hard. So I prefer to not watch things on TV now and to be out of the loop, for half a year, but then to just see everything, and so I'm going through now and just watching stuff that I should have watched a long time ago, but I haven't been, and so I've watched recently My Name is Earl, knocked out that whole series, 30 Rock. We like sharp wit, and the dumber the show, it seems like the better the writing is. And I think Mike Judge said that it was really hard to write as stupid as Beavis and Butthead were, So when you find a show with a great stupid character on it, somebody's doing their job,
right?
Oh, absolutely.
Somebody's fighting to keep that character stupid. So, we enjoy shows where there are really classically stupid characters, the Homer Simpsons and the Philip J. Frys and the Earls. So.
Nice.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen My Name is Earl, so. And I'm a big Jason Lee fan, so
it's great. I had seen the first few seasons, but again, it was one of those things where you're watching it every week on TV, and it burns. So, but it's on Netflix now, and I knocked it out in a couple of weeks, and it. Yeah, it's nice, and it's another one of those things that just died too soon. They pulled that show right off the air before it got an appropriate finish. So that's another one that we could, if they could get everybody back together for that. At least for a wrap up.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and I like that. Like even premium networks like HBO and Netflix as well. Like they're giving, if a show doesn't perform to their liking, they're at least giving them the way to end it, like their own like final season to end it. Like I'm thinking like with HBO, Boardwalk Empire had a shortened final season. They announced that it was a final season, and also I think The Newsroom, for better or worse, the last season was going in knowing it was the last season, I believe, and just I like that the current way that we consume media is not a week to week judgment of ratings anymore. It's more of this isn't performing to our liking. Let's go ahead and push out a final swan song for it and wrap things up so that the internet doesn't hate us.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that. I was a big fan of Deadwood, and I hated to see that series drop off without a big finale. But I felt like that was the kind of series that was never going to have an exact end.
Right.
Maybe you just stop watching, that's one of those shows that I'd like to see them, and I guess there's been talks about a Deadwood movie or something like that, but
there has been. And do you think that's ever going to happen? Because it's been
And it's great to see the characters do in other shows, and you think, that's so-and-so from Deadwood.
Right.
You never see them in any other light, but...
Yeah. Deadwood is one of those shows that I'm afraid to watch because I know that it doesn't end in a plot satisfying way, and I'm afraid to watch it.
There's no cliffhanger. It just you're just waiting for the next episode, and it just doesn't happen.
It just never happens.
That's a shame. Yeah. I actually mentioned Deadwood within the past month or so on one of our episodes. We talked about TV shows that we've abandoned, like stuff that we started, watched a season or two, and then we just left it. And for me, Deadwood is actually one of those shows, and I really wish I had a reason as to why, because every time I watched it, I was like, this is really good. These performances are incredible. And I thought it was a really good show, but for some reason, I always dropped off Deadwood, and I've only seen the first season and a half or so. I wish I knew why that was, but even having not seen it all, I wish they'd bring it back, because I know it's a quality show, and those are few and far between anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was one of those that's not hard to watch.
Yeah.
You enjoy it, and you go, wow, that was an hour. How did that happen? I think Game of Thrones would be like that now, where you think I can't believe that hour just passed that fast.
And to kind of go back to what you said about watching TV nowadays, with having it being such a binge-friendly time to watch it, because you wait until the season concludes, or if it's a Netflix exclusive, they throw the entire season at once. It's a good thing and a bad thing, because when you have a show like Game of Thrones that is such a juggernaut and such a topic of conversation, there's still kind of that you want to have all 10 episodes at once to watch, and that's another thing, is that television is geared more towards serialized storytelling now because of that. So you want to have the entire story out and ready, but if I miss, I'm terrified, because tomorrow is the penultimate episode of season 6 of Game of Thrones, and I'm going to be here all day, and then I'm going to go home. I'm going to be exhausted, probably going to go to bed early, and I know that the whole day of Monday I can't be on the internet at all, because it's going to get spoiled. And it's such a shame that there isn't as widespread of a spoiler etiquette on the internet, because people are even news organizations and blogs and things, they'll post oh, can you believe what just happened on this episode?
Right.
And then the picture will be of a character that so when you're watching it, oh, this character, something horrible is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, and it's an interesting time to be a fan of television and to consume this type of media. And I think that it's kind of, I don't know if it's going to keep drifting into that kind of all at once consumption that it's been going the last several years, or if there's going to be a nice middle ground reach between week to week and binge viewing. But it's an interesting time. I hope that it's at a transition.
Trends, everything's a trend. I mean, the way we're fighting to not see things that we don't want to see, to not get things spoiled by flipping through Facebook and Twitter and the like.
Right.
It's the same thing, that people in the 70s and 80s were doing around the water cooler at work, and they had to avoid the water cooler because they didn't know what happened on Cheers last night,
Right.
And so it's the newest way for people to avoid having things spoiled for them is the internet. So I think there will be another thing. There will be another way.
Yeah, cool. So I guess we can start kind of winding down and wrapping up a little bit here. I want to thank you for joining us here on stage on the Established Facts Podcaster stage at Indy PopCon 2016. So why don't you tell everyone where they can find CinemaSide again, and just kind of pitch them the show again. Tell them what it is and where they can find it.
Sure. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you again for having me up here. You can find us at cinemaside.com, and we do basic movie riffs just like Mystery Science Theater and Riff Tracks. It's a very cost-effective way to enjoy 2 hours.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, we're selling our MP3s at $2.99 and our VODs at $5.99. And so, if you've got a DVD collection at home and you want to relive that DVD and laugh yourself stupid, then $2.99 is not a bad way to go.
No, not at all. Sweet.
We enjoy the process, and we hope everybody else enjoys what we've got accomplished so far.
Sweet. Cool. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to pick up the Twilight one.
Yeah.
Because like Tiny said, that movie deserves to be ripped apart as much as possible. Sorry for the Twilight fans listening, but that is one of the most enjoyable viewing experiences I've had, just because it's funny because as the entire series went on, the movies each got bigger and like more competently made.
Evolution.
And the first one is handled so poorly, and from a technical standpoint, that it's so easy to just I hate the word hate watching, but it's to watch it with just having that opinion at the forefront. It's fun to riff on, and I'm really looking forward to listening to your guys' take on it.
Absolutely, and we hope everybody does.
Right. All right. Cool. And what's your booth number for those listening?
We're 342.
342. All right. Well, thanks again for having us, or for being our guest on the Podcaster Stage. And, of course, we're the Obsessive Viewer Podcast. You can find us at ovpodcast.com, obsessiveviewer.com, and on iTunes, Stitcher, everything like that. We're currently running a promotion for iTunes reviews. So if you listen to the show and like it, go ahead and leave a review on iTunes, and then contact us on Facebook. Just send us a message with your username for iTunes by July 1st, and you'll be entered into a drawing for a $10 Amazon gift card. And more details on the Obsessive Viewer and my side project podcast Anthology, which is a podcast exploring science fiction anthology television, starting with The Twilight Zone, can be found at our booth at booth 448 here at Indy PopCon. And hope everyone has a good rest of the convention, and we hope to see you guys there at our booth. So thanks again, and that about does it for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that's our interview with Geary from CinemaSide. You should definitely go check out their work. Immediately after that recording, I went to their booth and I bought their track for Twilight, which I'm so excited to listen to. It's such an easy process to actually purchase from them, and it's really straightforward, and it sounds like you're getting a lot of content for that price point. It's really worth checking out, at least to check out their stuff. It's really cool, and I really dig what they're doing. So, Tiny.
Sir?
Yes, we have about 45 minutes before the hall closes. Everyone's kind of dying down. The nerds you're looking for just packed up and left for the day. Snapshot Productions left for the day. So we're going to just do a little bit of recording here to kind of end the episode, end this first episode of PopCon, with a little PopCon Potpourri. Tiny, you into that?
Absolutely. It does smell good in here already, but we'll get it smelling even better.
Yes, it does. I was going to go a more cynical route with that because it's an exhibit hall with thousands of people and breathing and air, and it's hot, and it's, there's a certain, it doesn't smell that bad, but we're going to brighten it up anyway, freshen it up. Well, I am rambling. I'm so tired. Oh, my God. Okay, so...
I was trying to imply that we're right next to the concession stand.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did not get that at all.
I didn't. It was stupid. It was dumb. It was dumb.
No, it was a good joke, Tiny.
Thank you.
It was good. So anyway, we're going to do PopCon Potpourri, where we're basically going to, if this is your first episode listening, actually, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, Potpourri is the section of the podcast where we talk about whatever we want, as long as it smells good, anything we're watching, anything we've watched lately, anything that we are looking forward to, just basically a potpourri of random topics related to our basic subjects, our genres. So, genre of podcast. So, anyway, Tiny, do you want to get us kicked off?
Yes, I do. So, I recently watched a movie called Everest. You have to be careful when you search for that one because there's like 3 or 4 Everest movies out there. But this is the most recent one.
Would you say that it's a very big and it's a really hard thing to accomplish watching the movie? Did you get cold? Was there air? Something. I'm trying to imply. How was Everest?
So this one came out in 2015. I think there's one that came out in the 90s, something like that. But this is the most recent one, and it has a really great cast. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal's in it. Gosh, who else is in this thing? I'm completely spacing right now.
The president's chief of staff on House of Cards. What's his name?
Doug Stamper. I can't think of the actor's name.
Michael Kelly.
Michael Kelly.
Yeah.
Michael Kelly's in it. With a whole slew of actors. I'm completely spacing it right now. But the cast is very good, and everyone gives a really good performance. I was really, really impressed with everybody. What I liked about this is that this wasn't a generic story. This wasn't an action movie, or it wasn't an over dramatization of what it is to be a mountain climber. This was based on a true story about in the 90s. There were a couple people who had successfully summited Everest and basically turned it into a business where people could pay an exorbitant amount of money to have these experienced climbers guide them on a summit of Everest. And that's a very interesting business to run. And in this story, it talks about several years after these businesses have already been successful, they run into their first problems. They have a lot of... It's basically a true story about how some people went on this summit and this exploration of Everest and didn't make it off. And it's a very tragic story. But it's also true, and it feels like they stuck to what actually happened pretty closely. So I respect the movie for that, and it feels like there was some actual location shooting. I don't know if there was or not, but it really felt that way. I mean, obviously you can't take a movie camera up to the summit of Everest, so I know they didn't do that. But some of the base camp stuff, I mean, it really felt like they were in Nepal at the base of Everest. So maybe they were, maybe they weren't, but they did a good job capturing that feel at the very least. The movie overall, I would just say is okay though. I think it's a little bogged down. The timing of how everything lines up was kind of strange. They sort of, I mean, like some of the stuff that I would think would be like a climax kind of happened at an odd point in the movie. Like at the midpoint of the movie, they like reach the summit. It's kind of crazy. Spoiler alert. But and then from there, there's all this turmoil about trying to get down successfully without any injuries or losses or anything like that. And all of it's very interesting. It's very captivating. But it's kind of slow too. I mean, this is a very, I guess, a pretty inconsiderate thing to say, but people dying of lack of oxygen and hypothermia is pretty boring. Like I said, that's a terrible thing to say, but it's kind of just like wind whipping around and people laying in the snow and slowly not breathing anymore. It's very cruel, and you can really feel it. So I give him credit for that, but I kind of lost interest in it just a little bit. I feel like I'm being kind of hard on it. It is a good movie, and like I said, the performances are good, but it just kind of dragged for me in a few places. I think it could have used some editing. Also, there are some really remarkable scenes involving characters who are in dire turmoil or they're at risk of dying, and they get to have conversations with their loved ones. And with the talented actors involved in this, you get some really, really great performances and some very touching moments during those scenes. So I was impressed with that. I give a lot of credit to the actors, and the dialogue was fairly solid. I definitely recommend the movie just because of its achievements. Like I said, you really felt like you were on the mountain going up it. It was impressive in that respect, and I really enjoyed the performances. So check it out. It's actually on HBO Go. That's how I watched it. So check it out if you want.
Well, that's awesome, and I totally heard everything you said. I didn't have to step away from the recording at all. That's awesome. I've been kind of curious about it, and I feel like that movie in particular is one that I wish that I would have seen in the theater, like that, and I think The Walk was around the same time, the Robert Zemeckis movie. So that's cool. I'll have to check it out. Even though you said it was just okay, but also Jason Clarke was in it.
Jason Clarke, he's very good in it.
Nice. So what I'm going to bring up for Potpourri is my brain is mush right now. Let's see. So I watched The Secret of My Success, which we referenced. Which we referenced in our Workplace Comedies movie. I hadn't seen it yet, and I had rented it before we recorded that episode, and then I didn't have time to watch it, so I went ahead and watched it after we recorded. And, I spent about the first 30, 45 minutes thinking that I just had the wrong idea about the movie in general, because I knew of The Secret of My Success from from what it was parodied in It's Always Sunny. And so I was thinking, like, okay, when does he like pretend that he's an executive? Because it doesn't happen for a while. And it's, it was okay. It was really, really cheesy. I would say that I didn't really like it all that much. I don't regret watching it, but I don't know. Michael J. Fox is amazing, but I like him better when he's in a movie that I respect more, or get more out of. And I didn't really get much out of it. I just thought it was just kind of silly and over the top, and I don't know. I thought it was okay. I didn't really have much else to say about it. Like I said, my brain is just mush right now. Let's see, what else? Also, I've been watching a lot of The Office Season 9, which I recorded with Matt Quay from the Nerds Domain earlier this morning, and I was talking about that, and it's interesting because I'm watching it, like I just randomly started the Season 9, the last season of it, just out of sequence, and I'm watching that independent of itself, because I wasn't too into it when it was airing, because they made some choices in that final season that watching it week to week, I didn't agree with, but seeing it after knowing what all happens and seeing it without having to wait a week or two between every episode, I'm appreciating it a little bit more. Like, for instance, there's a whole subplot with Jim and Pam, like their marriage is a little rocky in the season, and part of that is that they introduce a character who is introduced as if he's in love with Pam, and like I remember that affecting me and thinking like, man, that's wrong. I don't like that. I just didn't like it, and I thought that it was just really, it seemed like really not expected, but it seemed very much formulaic of it. Like, oh, there's this guy that's been around the whole time that's in love with Pam. And when I saw that when it was airing, I just kind of I hated it. I hated it so much. But seeing it now, like watching every episode in chunks, binge watching it, I realized that this plotline was not as big and huge as I originally thought it would be, and like that's pretty much written out after a few episodes with the guy, and like that, like going at it from watching it and having the knowledge of everything now, it's more palatable, it's more interesting. The drama between Jim and Pam in that final season is honestly, it's kind of remarkable. I think that it's really like if they had started this whole like not I guess rockiness of their marriage. I don't want to say troubled marriage because it's not really a troubled marriage. It's just they hit some speed bumps. If they'd started this in season 8 and then carried it through 2 seasons and really spent time to develop it and really dig into it, I think it could have been incredible. But unfortunately, they kind of squeezed it into season 9 where they're also doing a bunch of weird stuff with like Andy. Oh my god. Thank you, PopCon. And so it's there are announcements going on now. I don't know if the mic picked it up, but anyway, yeah. So just I'm appreciating it more now, but I think if it had more room to grow into 2 seasons, play out over 2 seasons, I think it would have been more effective. And it's competing now with like by cramming it into one season. They're competing with a lot of different subplots that didn't really work for me. Like the season starts with Andy as the manager, and he's dating Erin, played by Ellie Kemper, who is just freaking amazing. I love her. She and him are dating, and then he leaves on a boat trip for several episodes because Ed Helms, of course, had to film The Hangover Part 3. So what they did with Aaron and their whole relationship, they just dropped it. She found someone else in the office and they started dating, and then Ed Helms Ed Helms came back from filming The Hangover Part 3, and it changed the character, and he was just kind of a joke. It kind of seems like he was suddenly wanting to be an actor because the documentary is about to air, and it seems like, I feel like they had this plot line with him trying to seek fame and try to make it as an actor. I feel like they had that earmarked for Michael Scott for whenever the show reached its end, and I don't know necessarily if that would have been a better or worse, or just in general a bad idea, but I don't know. It didn't really work for me that much, but I don't know. And then the whole Dwight spinoff thing is really obnoxious in the final season of The Office, because they literally took scenes that they filmed for the pilot of Dwight's spinoff, The Farm, and they incorporated it into an actual episode of The Office called The Farm, and it was just really, really just out of place. Really weird, really just not good at all. And I'm sure that Thomas Middleditch, who appeared in it, is really happy that that didn't go through, because he's seeing a lot of success in Silicon Valley. So, but yeah, so that's my potpourri, and that's gonna just about do it for us. And we would be remiss if we didn't bring this up. Today it was actually the day of the day of recording this is December 19th. 2016, and it was announced today that Anton Yelchin, the young actor who plays Chekhov in the Star Trek movies, as well as he was recently in the movie Green Room, which I loved, he passed away today, tragically in an automobile accident that sounds really, really horrifying and just tragic. And it's, we would be remiss if we didn't mention it. And personally, I thought he had such a bright future and like a really strong present. He had just a whole bunch of really, really good roles. Like, he was in Alpha Dog. He was in the Fright Night remake, the Star Trek movies, of course, Green Room. Like, he had a very, very bright future, and it's just tragic to see his life and career cut short so horrifically, really. Tiny, do you have any thoughts on Anton Yelchin as an actor?
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Alpha Dog. That was my introduction to him, and he just blew me away in that. He was like a 15-year-old, 16-year-old in that movie, and he was keeping up with a lot of seasoned actors who had done a lot of big projects, and he really blew me away in that movie. And from there, I followed his career. I enjoyed him in the Fright Night remake. I think he really did have a bright future, like you said, and to see it cut short is just awful. And I hope his family is doing all right and everything, and we're gonna miss him.
Yep, I agree completely, and yeah, it's sad. It's tragic. I recommend everyone check out the movie Green Room, because he was fantastic in it. He was incredible in it, actually, and check out the rest of his work too. And that's the best way that we, as fans of film and television, that's the best way we can honor someone in the industry that passes. Just revisit their work and admire the work that they put out into the world. So with that somber note, we're going to go ahead and start breaking down this booth and thinking about going home after a long and successful weekend at Indy PopCon. Once again, just as I said at the top of the episode, we're running a promotion for iTunes reviews. So if you're listening to this and have not reviewed us on iTunes, you have until July 1st, or whenever. Write us a review on iTunes, and then send us a message on Facebook at facebook.com/theobsessiveviewer. And tell us your username on iTunes and your email address. And on around July 1st, we're going to go through the submissions, randomly pick one, and send them a $10 Amazon gift card. So, all you have to do is just write a review and let us know. And also, if you're interested in Shocktober in Irvington 3, which is Friday, October 14th, 2016 at the Irving Theater, more information on that can be found at shocktoberinirvington.com, including the link to the Facebook event page, as well as soon a link to where you can buy tickets for it. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We already have some good stuff lined up, and we're looking forward to getting some more lined up in the weeks to come. So, yeah, I'm rambling, and that's about all that we have to discuss. So on that note, have a good week. There will be another episode of The Obsessive Viewer out later this week that will have all of our booth recordings and us kind of talking about the convention as a whole after we've had time to decompress and gather our thoughts. So thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you later this week.
Thanks, guys.
Kid, what's your name? Chanko? Chirpov?
Ensign Chekhov, Pavel Andreevich, sir.
Fine. Chekhov, Pavel Andreevich. Begin shipwide mission broadcast.
Yes, sir, happy to. Ensign authorization code 95 Victor 2.
Authorization not recognized.
Ensign authorization code 95 Victor 2.
Access granted.
May I have your attention, please?
I guess I should tell you about the first time I left my room. My daddy was driving me back from summer camp, and I turned to him and I said, "Daddy, I think I'm sloughing." And he said, "That's nice, honey." And I realized that he had, no idea just what sloughing meant. So I explained to him that it meant blood was gushing from my you-know-where. And he nearly wrecked the car, trying to hand me a wad of fast food napkins, which is not something that you particularly want to stick up your hooch.
Great.
I wasn't quite finished, actually.
No, that'll do. Thank you, Charlie.
Okay, so I'm not a magician. Now you're a magician, so you teach me how to do it.
I can't just because you said I am a magician. I can't teach you.
You didn't know that trick before the magician taught it to you, right?
Yeah,
So why did the magician tell you?
he can tell that I'm a magician.
Well, you could tell that I'm a magician.
But I'm a magician, just naturally a magician.
That's what you're saying. I'm saying I'm naturally a magician.
But you don't know any tricks.
And you're just not. I mean, see, because I'm a magician, if you were naturally a magician, I'd feel that you were naturally a magician.
Are you going to tell me this trick?
No.
Magicians don't reveal their secrets.
I gotta go.
You guys are a lot alike.
Yeah, except he's not a magician. Music is shared life. It's time and aggression. You gotta be there. And then it's over.
Thank you for listening to The Obsessive Viewer, presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. You can find more of our episodes at ovpodcast.com, and you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast app. The Obsessive Viewer's theme song is An Eclipse of Events and is provided by Loudlike from their EP Mistakes We Must Make. You can find that and more great music from them on iTunes and like their Facebook page at facebook.com/loudlikemusic. Any and all feedback on the podcast is encouraged. You can email the hosts individually at Matt, Tiny, or Mike at ObsessiveViewer.com, or send an email to the podcast in general at podcast@ObsessiveViewer.com. Check out the Obsessive Viewer blog at ObsessiveViewer.com, where we post movie and TV reviews and the occasional editorial about the business of entertainment. You can also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/TheObsessiveViewer and follow us on Twitter at ObsessiveViewer, at ObsessiveTiny, and at I Am Mike White. If you want more obsessive content in your life, check out our sister site, obsessivebooknerd.com, for book reviews, author spotlights, and a general celebration of reading. Finally, if you're philosophically curious, check out Tiny's side project podcast, The Secular Perspective, which explores the concepts of faith, religion, and existence from the perspective of secular hosts. You can find that at thesecularperspective.com and subscribe to the podcast on the podcatcher of your choice. Again, thank you so much for listening. We love you. Be excellent to each other.